Welcome to Married to the Boss.
Hi everyone, we are happy to be back and happy 2021.
It's been a while since you've heard from us, but we are back on track after a few challenging months.
Yes, the last time we spoke, we thought we were going to be taking a 2-week break, but it turned out to be a 2-month break. So we apologize to everyone for being MIA. But there's just a lot of stuff that's happened in the last couple of months. Not anything terribly bad, it's just life. And we just had a tough time getting back to recording, which we love to share these sessions with everyone. Mm-hmm. And we hope that 2021 sessions are helpful to you. Anyway, so let's get started because we know you're short on time and we want to respect that. So we are going to openly discuss the situation that's going on right now for everyone regarding the COVID-19 pandemic as it pertains to us as entrepreneurs and business owners. We've had to fly by the seat of our pants, and I'm sure that everybody who's listening to us probably has had to do the same thing. And we've had to go through some situations and just figure them out, to be honest with you. So we thought, you know what, why don't we bring this to our audience and just openly talk about how we're still obviously not out of the woods. It is, we are in the month of March. Mm-hmm. So we are still, we're not, the jury's still out. So we just want to share the fact that everybody's probably going through some of these through angst and some situations that they are kind of unsure. So you're not alone.
Yeah, so I think it's important in our situation kind of set the stage of challenges that we've come across because we happen to be in the travel business. Mm-hmm. And as you all know, the travel business has been devastated, similar to really the restaurant industry. And so, meeting those challenges when it's completely uncontrollable, it's difficult. And that's really what we want to try to relay in this message.
Yeah, and of course, being married entrepreneurs makes it even more challenging, right? I mean, it really does.
Oh, yeah.
And it's tough. It's tough to be a business owner during times like this. It's tough to be just a person during times like this. And what's even more tough than the two I just mentioned is being married to an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur, but in the same business where you co-own a business or you're running something together. That's definitely, it's been challenging.
Been tough.
Yeah, but
you get through it.
Yeah, we do.
You just got to fight the fight.
Yeah.
And I think anybody listening to this podcast is going to agree that we've never been really hit with anything like this before. Mm-hmm. And we don't even know how long it's really going to last, even though that now 3 vaccines are out. You have to really reevaluate your business. Mm-hmm. Because you just have to think of all the businesses that are out there that are struggling. And again, just because we're in the travel business,
we've had to get creative.
You got to get really creative. Yes. Just to survive and to keep going. Or you really got to look at it and say, okay, when will the travel industry actually bounce back?
Right.
And how long will it take? And how long can we last? And it's those challenges. I can assure you that many listening to this are going to have those same challenges.
Absolutely, and to be quite frank, we don't know the answers to the questions you just presented. We have no idea when things are going to get better. Obviously, we're optimistic that we're going to weather the storm and make it to the end. And again, and I'm not trying to be sad sap about it, but it's true. No one knows, depending on the business model, the industry that you're in, the clients that you're serving. You may or may not have been impacted by COVID-19 in a negative way. Perhaps you might be impacted in a positive way, which regardless of whether it's positive, meaning that you're getting more business than you usually would have otherwise, or negatively like us, where it's really taken a big chunk out of your business because of the industry that we're in, and the one that was most hurt. You still have to make decisions for your business, and we're going to focus on the business side, not just the personal. And you have to think through how you can evolve what you're doing in order to make it to the other end of this challenging economic difficult time. So you may have to reimagine what your product is, what your service is. You may have to
everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like starting over again, because you're trying to figure out how to do your operations in your business. You're trying to figure out how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to work with your staff. I mean, literally, you are starting from the beginning, where I think it's even more difficult, because when you start a business, you got your challenges of starting a business. So now think of starting a business with a pandemic. And everybody out there that you're talking to, you're trying to bring on customers as an example. They're in the same problem, same situation that you're in. So, if you're building a business and you're going after a prospect, that's different than when there's possibilities of bringing them on as a customer. With this, it's just hard to get people's attention.
Yes, it is.
They're not thinking straight. You're trying to think straight. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, and as we all know, the unknown, really goes a long way in regards to waking up every day and what's today going to be like, and what are we going to do this week and next month, and those are the challenges that we've gone through, and we got to believe that most listening to this are going through the same situation.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that we might be able to share with our audience in regards to how we have decided to get through this next few months? We're hoping, again, like everyone listening now, we are hoping that the scale is going to tip toward the side of recovery here by June, but we don't know. So we have to, much like yourselves, we have to think, okay, what is it that we can do now that's going to help us buy us more time until we see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel? Because for us, our revenue has been cut considerably, so we have to make some tough decisions. We have had to, as some might say, tighten up the supply chain in regards to who we do business with, how we do business. It's just been tough.
Yep.
It's been tough.
And I think we need to look at it in a couple different ways. You could be in an industry that you're already on your path to recovery. Great, congratulations. You could be 6 months out. So restaurants, I think, are probably 4 to 6 months out if these vaccines actually take place. Us in the travel industry, we know that it's going to be minimum 2022 before we start seeing a green light that's let's really go at this thing. So if you look at it from a standpoint, if you're only a few months away, you gotta, to me, you have to go back to your business plan and say, okay, is this business plan even any good anymore? Does it need to be really updated? And if so, then update it with a whole new plan of attack of how you're going to build your business. Again, same thing if you're 6 months out or if you're a year out. If us being a year out, doing marketing right now in the travel industry is to us is kind of throwing money down the drain. So these are the kind of things that you have to talk about as a couple. Yeah. And trust me, as a couple, it's so much harder than walking into your boss's office and saying, hey boss, things are really looking up, it's getting better, we need to do this, we need to hire a couple more people. It's a whole lot different when you go to your spouse and say, it's kind of the same thing. It looks like it's recovering. Should we add more people? Should we do some marketing? Should we do some advertising? It's a different ballgame. And you've got to get along, with those conversations. And we have the same issue where I want to do something and she's not in agreement, and we have to come to, a happy medium, or otherwise then you got troubles in your business and your marriage.
Sure, absolutely. Because just like in marriage as well, you want to try and, for example, for us in our business, we decided to hunker down and cut down on costs, right? To try and prolong our ability to withstand the storm to finish the race. So we've had to cut costs, and we've had to make tough decisions and try to shave wherever we can, and we're still trying to get through some of those decisions because we're still not out of the woods. And so because it's a financial topic, finance is always tough to talk about in your business when you are a business owner. And it's also tough to talk about even if you are working for a large company, but of course, assuming that in the audience, maybe somebody is still working for a large organization, even though they may not share it with you, they have those tough decisions. We've been there. We've been in the boardroom making those tough decisions. It's just the way that it gets trickled down to the lower down the line is where it changes. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur like we are, everybody we like being completely transparent, so everybody's aware of where we are fiscally or where we are in regards to future forward-looking plans. So it's tough.
And I keep hearing us saying it's tough, and you're really trying to think, okay, what can these guys share on a podcast to help? So I'm gonna throw out an example of being creative. So I'm going to use two terms: touchless and cashless. Those two things are going to be heavy on a lot of businesses' mind moving forward as they build their business, their software, whatever the case may be.
And this would be regardless of the size of the business, correct?
Doesn't matter what size the business is. I mean, touchless is critical. I mean, you're starting to see some advertisements that the touchless payment experience. You're showing up and you're not touching a pen, you're not touching a piece of paper, you're not touching a tablet because you prepaid for it in advance. Anything that you can do touchless is going to help your business, because it's a distancing issue, and distancing is not going to go away even when the vaccine comes out. You can really take that to the bank. Everybody's going to be different going forward because of this pandemic, and the next time you're going to hear another strain coming out and people are getting sick in one state and it's spreading, you're going to continue to hear this in the wonderful thing we call the media. So as that happens, you got to build your business around that. And so here's in regards to cashless, every time we touch cash, we've got to spray our hands. So, no one really wants to touch cash. Now, cash used to be king. I don't think cash is king anymore. I don't know what cash is, but we don't use it that much, primarily because of the touching. So again, think about being really creative on your end. If we're in the reservations business, then we want reservations to be made online, prepaid, including in our business, there could be either an agreement or a waiver that's signed online. What does that mean? That means when they get to the actual facility to, let's say, rent a boat, they're not grabbing a pen. After that, they better be spraying or wiping down. They're not touching a piece of paper, the same thing. If there's cash, the same thing. Leaning on a counter, all of that has to me, be in the mindset of being that touchless experience. That's how we've had to be creative on our end, and we think it's absolutely essential in order for us to continue in the business that we're in.
So in other words, take the time, use the time, maybe slower time or the downtime, depending on what applies to you, due to the pandemic. Use that time wisely to rethink perhaps your supply chain, or rethink perhaps the way that you execute your service or your product. Rethink through how you do things, just to make it, from a social distancing standpoint, make it social distance proof, where you can still provide that product and that service, but in this new space or this new expectation where you are not expected to either dialogue too close with the vendor or the operator, or exchange the financial transaction of it. In person.
And one thing that you have to do, you just have to do, we've said it in other podcasts, you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the customer, of the user. Forget, I don't want to say forget about your business. Your business is your business, but you've got to go outside your business and be a user. I spoke to a gentleman the other day and explained this to him about think like a user, think like a user. And we went over about 15 minutes of a phone call. He said, I really never thought about it that way. You have to.
Think like your customer.
You think like your customer. And if you take anything from this podcast is, instead of be the ball, be the customer.
Yeah, right. I'll be the ball. He's using baseball terms, or
Yes.
no, that's basketball.
Actually, that happened to be Caddyshack, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Oh,
it
no,
was
that's golf.
Yeah. Be the ball.
Okay, I can be the ball.
Okay.
Anyway, so that actually, we're running out of time,
Yep.
so we have to kind of wind down.
Yep.
So I guess the nugget of wisdom that we want to impart is don't give up.
Nope.
If anything, try and stick it out if you can. Of course, your finances are going to dictate that. And if you do decide to go for it, and because entrepreneurship is all about chasing failure anyways. So all of us who are entrepreneurs aren't afraid of failure. So
you're going to fail.
we're going to fail. And you know what? That's a good thing if we fail.
Right.
You know why? Because we're going to learn how to do it better next
Right.
time. That's just how we think. That's how we are. And I'm sure that we share that collectively with you, our audience. So don't be afraid to fail. Stick it out, do whatever you can, fine tune cut costs with your finances, cut costs wherever you can cut costs to try and survive the storm, and rethink how you deliver that product or the service where it becomes social touching proof, where you can actually still engage with your customer, whomever that customer is, and deliver the product and the service without any friction.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Only thing I got to say is we're glad to be back.
Yes.
Be safe and don't let your guard down until your gut, your heart tells you that it's safe to go back in the water. Otherwise, stay protected.
Yes, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in touch because we're going to share more other topics relevant to product and service. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, forgot.
See ya.
Bye.
That's this week's episode of Married to the Boss podcast.